A new study is casting doubt on a belief that special diets can help children who suffer from autism. The authors of the study agree that digestive problems in autistic children can contribute to unruly behavior, but the study finds no evidence that special diets help alleviate those symptoms. Talk about it with Dr. Mark Siegel. He's a Fox News medical contributor and a member of the Fox News A-team. Doctor, I know that there is a huge amount of controversy in the community of people who suffer from autism or have children who are suffering from autism about how it is caused and how it is best treated, but a lot of people think that a special diet is the key. What does this study say?
Well, actually, John, this is 28 experts that got together from around the country and formed an expert panel, and the key finding here is that in fact, the behavior in autistic children can be a manifestation of a problem with either their stomach, constipation, diarrhea, and the panel is very concerned that this behavior, that the problems in the stomach or the bowels has been overlooked. In other words, it's hard to get a person that can't communicate well to give you these symptoms. So they're concluding that we should be talking more to the parents and that pediatricians should be more involved in trying to figure out if it's a problem with the bowel. 9 to 70% of the autistic children, autistic spectrum disease, which is 1 out of 150 kids with developmental problems, have a problem with either the stomach or the bowels or reflux or constipation, often overlooked. This is a very, very important finding, John. And again, your point is right. It's not that it's a cause of autism. That's a very important point, because back in the early 1990s, Dr. Wakefield over in Britain claimed that the measles vaccine caused autism and created antibodies in the stomach. That's been totally disproven, and we don't need any more vaccine fearmonger sable rattling around this. This is not the issue here. The issue here is that autistic children have GI complaints like anybody else, and they're often overlooked.
But that would seem to argue for a special diet if they've got an abnormally high percentage of GI problems?
It would seem to argue for that, but it actually doesn't. That's a great point, John. Actually, they're not finding that a special diet helps. But they're saying, you know, look, if somebody is constipated, you better look into why, figure it out, do an x-ray, do an evaluation. Don't leave it alone. In other words, don't let the problem persist. It's not that they've decided that there's a treatment here. You're absolutely right. The panel has concluded that there is no special way to treat this. But what's really important is the art of medicine here, telling pediatricians to wake up and look at the patient and talk to the family. By the way, I want to make a point here about guidelines. These are not guidelines, and if they go one step further and try to issue federal guidelines about how to evaluate autistic spectrum disorder and GI and the gastrointestinal tract, that will be ridiculous. This is about the art of medicine. One doctor, one patient, and it's saying to the doctor, talk to the family, find out what's going on. But you're right, there's no magic bullet here, and the study concludes that you cannot determine from this that there's an instant cure of any kind.
Well, so many parents are so confused as to the cause of what afflicts their children. What do you tell them? I mean, this just seems to take away a potential answer. It doesn't really shed any light on it.
I don't agree, John. I think the answer here, the headline here is that a lot of times if your kid is acting out, if they're angry, if they're frustrated, if they're anxious, it may not be anything emotional. It may be your bowels. That's the take-home here. That's a very important point. Doctors have to learn to think outside the box like that. We think in way too much of a narrow view. We say, this kid's angry. He's battling with other kids. What's going on? You know, what upset him? Well, it may be that he hasn't gone to the bathroom in 7 days. That's the point here, and that's something that can never be emphasized enough.
Dr. Mark Siegel from our Medical A-team. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
We want to get back